The head of the US Federal Reserve has admitted a rate hike could happen relatively soon. Speaking before Congress on Thursday, Janet Yellen said that Donald Trump's election victory has not changed the Fed's plan. Markets are interpreting her remarks to mean a hike is in store next month. Jong-hong with the details.
It's being taken as a clear sign of a rate hike to come in December. Fed chairwoman Janet Yellen says new economic data justified a rate increase, quote, relatively soon, wording that has not been included in previous statements, and barring any dramatic changes, a gradual pace of hikes may follow thereafter.
That the evidence we've seen since we met in November is consistent with our expectation of strengthening growth and improving labor market, inflation moving up.
She added the risk of, quote, falling behind the curve in the near future appears limited. Speaking at a hearing of the U.S. Joint Economic Committee, Yellen said the Fed will adjust its outlook when needed, in line with plans unveiled by the new administration, which could involve hundreds of billions of dollars in tax cuts and additional government spending. Yellen suggested the incoming Trump administration keep in mind that the U.S. is near full employment and inflation appears to be rising. Alluding to newly released upbeat economic data, Yellen said there remains, quote, room to run in the U.S. recovery, and rate increases may likely proceed on a gradual basis. Jong-hong, Arirang News.